Hello, thank you everybody for joining us today for the First Truckers webinar. My name is Wanjiku Kahacho. I am the webinar coordinator with the African Chamber of Commerce. Right now, we're gonna give it about 4 minutes until 3:35 to give people a little bit more time to come into the call. So please be patient with us while we wait. Thank you. So while the webinar is going on, we're going to have a Q&A after each segment, after each panelist speaks. Should be an option on your side to submit a question if you do have a question after the segment or while the segment is going on. And also, if you're not able to send the question through that, you can also send a text message to me at 816-299-1183. Again, that number is 816-299-1183. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and get started. Like I said before, if you're not able to send your questions in through the chat, and we will be answering questions after each segment for that specific segment. So feel free to send it anytime during when that panelist is speaking. And if you're not able to send it through the GoToWebinar platform, you can also send me a text message with your question at 816-299-1183. And now let me present to you the CEO and President of the African Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Gichuru.
My name is Peter Gichuru. I'm the President and CEO of African Chamber of Commerce. And I would like to take this time to welcome all of you, especially you truck owner operators. We have been working with you for over 10 years, going way back to the first Clean Truck program, assisting you in applying for temporary permit, putting together a workshop at North Seattle Community College. And at these difficult times, we are with you. This is our first webinar, and we hope to have more. Before I move on, I want to acknowledge two of our board members who are with us. That is our chairman, Dr. Abe, and our secretary, Joyce Kirangi. We are delighted that we have them with us here. What is the purpose of this webinar? The purpose of this webinar, one, is to give you an update on what resources are available for the coronavirus financial resources. I know we are a little bit late, but there are still more, and Juguna will be talking about that. The second one is to give you an update on the next phase of Clean Truck program. And the third one is to update you on West Seattle Bridge, since it does affect, your trucking business. We've been working with our friend Karen Zima for the last 4 years. Most of you know Karen. She's a friend of trucking community, and she and the African Chamber of Commerce work very closely to guide you on issues that relate to running a successful trucking business. So please join me in welcoming our friend, Karen Zima. Karen's all yours.
Hello, and thank you, Peter. Very nice to hear you today, and you look great today. And welcome, Dr. Abe, as well as Joyce, board members of the African Chamber of Commerce. So we do have a good lineup today, and we're ready to get started. Our first presenter today is Njuguna Gichuru. Njuguna is the Vice President of Small Business Development with the African Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to talk with us today about more financial resources that are available to the small business community during these difficult times. So thank you very much, Njuguna, for presenting, and welcome, sir. And we'll have a 15-minute presentation, and as what Wanjiku did say earlier, we'll spend 5 minutes of question and answers at the end of the presentation. So if you do have any questions, please enter those questions in. If you are in a phone-only mode, please feel free to text your questions to 816 299-1183. So welcome, Njuguna Gashuru. We are happy to have you today. Thank you.
Hello. And so today I'll be speaking about COVID-19 small business support resources that are available. And the African Chamber of Commerce has been working with trucking businesses for many years, as has been mentioned. And right now we are working with your businesses and other small businesses in African immigrant and other communities to provide COVID-19 small business support. We've been doing this since the beginning of the crisis and have served over 50 small businesses and have helped them to apply for and obtain loans, grants from the City of Seattle, State of Washington, and others, personal protection equipment, and guidance on how to obtain government benefits, such as unemployment benefits for their employees, as well as how to set up recovery plans and how to remain in compliance with Washington's Safe Start rules. And so today we're going to talk about financial resources available to small businesses, and we're going to focus on small business administration loan programs, particularly the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. There are many other programs that are out there, but unfortunately right now a lot of those programs have either been exhausted or on hold. And so we're going to speak about these two programs. But again, we can assist you as new programs open up to access information and to apply. And so first, we're going to discuss the Paycheck Protection Program. Small businesses have until this Saturday, August 8th, to apply for potentially forgivable loans via the Paycheck Protection Program. This SBA program provides small businesses with funds to pay up to 8 weeks of payroll costs, including benefits, as well as some other overhead costs. And those other costs include mortgages, rents, and utilities. This program is available for small businesses with 500 or fewer employees that have been in operation, that were in operation on February 15th, 2020, and continue to be in operation. We're recommending that businesses that have not yet applied should strongly consider doing this before the deadline this Saturday. The loan amount that you receive through the PPP would be forgiven as long as the loan proceeds would be used to cover payroll costs and those other costs that I mentioned over the 8-week period after the loan is made. If you use the loan for those purposes, then it is forgiven and it is essentially a grant. In order to receive forgiveness, employee and compensation levels have to be maintained during that 8-week period, and at least 60% of the forgiven amount must be used for payroll. In this program, payroll costs are capped at $100,000 on an annualized basis for each employee. So that is the highest amount that an employee could be paid, $100,000. But again, they would receive that compensation for 8 weeks. That's what would be paid for by PPP. Loan payments, if this was not forgiven, would be deferred for 6 months. The loan amount you are eligible for would be your average monthly payroll times 2.5. PPP loans have an interest rate of 1%, and loans issued after June 5th have a maturity of 5 years. Loan payments, if it is not forgiven, will be deferred for 6 months, and no collateral or personal guarantees are required, and neither the government nor your lender will charge you any fee for this loan. Okay, in order to access a Paycheck Protection loan, you must go through your business bank or another bank that is a provider, and applications are taken via online banking. The African Chamber of Commerce can provide you with information, guidance, and assistance in applying. And if you'd like to apply before the deadline, we'd ask you to contact us so we can provide that assistance. A second Paycheck Protection Program is under consideration currently in Congress under the Continuing Small Business Recovery and Paycheck Protection Program Act as part of the HEALS Act. But this would be more restrictive and its adoption is not certain at this time. Particularly when it comes to self-employed individuals, you are eligible for a PPP loan. So it is designed to cover payroll, but that also includes your payroll if you are a sole proprietor or independent contractor working for yourself. In order to apply and be eligible, you must prove that you are in operation again on February 15, 2020, and you must submit documentation to establish your eligibility. For a self-employed person, Payroll would equal your wages and any amount of net income on the business up to $100,000. And so you would need to submit documentation to establish your eligibility as a self-employed person. Documentation that you'd be required to submit includes payroll processor records, payroll tax filings, Form 1099, or income and expenses from a sole proprietorship. And so that can also take the form of a profit and loss statement. If you do not have any of the above documents, your lender will request that your other supporting documentation, including bank records. And since most banks are requiring that in order for you to apply, you have to be one of their business bank customers, they should have access to those records already. So that's something you would discuss with your banker. Next, we're going to discuss the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. This is another Small Business Administration federal government loan program that provides low-interest federal disaster loans for working capital to small businesses of any size that have suffered substantial economic injury as a result of coronavirus. So you are eligible as long as you are a small business and you've experienced some damage from the coronavirus pandemic. Again, it's available for small businesses, but also independent contractors and gig workers and other types of entities. The SBA is still processing loan applications for the EIDL loans. There's no deadline that's set for this program. However, funds may run out soon, so it's best to apply as soon as possible. EIDL loans have the following key terms. The interest rate across the board is 3.75%. The SBA will run a credit check, so good credit is imperative. The loan is repayable over 30 years, so the payment can be affordable, and any payment is deferred for 1 year from when the loan is originated. The loan is also prepayable at any time without a penalty. And loans over $25,000 may require collateral, while loans over $200,000 may require a personal guarantee. So you want to keep that in mind. Unlike the PPP loans, the EIDL loans are not forgivable. These loans are affordable and they are long-term, but they are not designed to be forgivable like the PPP. And so what can EIDL loans be used for? These loans are not like the PPP strictly designated for payroll. They can be used for working capital to continue operations, any necessary expenditures to alleviate that economic injury you've suffered from COVID-19, sick leave to employees, maintaining payroll, increased supply costs, and repaying debts that you've incurred or that you couldn't pay because of this coronavirus crisis. And so there is a lot of latitude with how you can spend money from EIDLs. And so that's a difference between the EIDL program and the Paycheck Protection Program. You can apply for an economic injury disaster loan online from the SBA. The application process is relatively easy and only takes about 15 minutes to 20 minutes, but you'll want to make sure that you have key pieces of information about your business. Some of those key pieces include when your business was licensed, your revenues for the previous 12-month period, and your expenses for a previous 12-month period. You'll also want to have your banking information because these loans are paid via direct deposit. And so again, you can go online and apply at the SBA website, and the African Chamber of Commerce is providing you with information, guidance, and assistance in applying. We've helped several businesses apply for and obtain economic injury disaster loans that have been very helpful. They have ranged from small amounts of around $5,000 to upwards of $150,000. And so we'd encourage you to consider applying. Even if you are not quite sure, you can apply for this loan. And if you are awarded, you can make the decision to accept it or not to accept it. And so we feel that you should apply so that you have the opportunity to make that decision. And so currently, as I mentioned earlier, the African Chamber of Commerce is providing small business support to African small businesses and others in our community. In this program, we're providing you with information you need to understand what your options are, and that includes financing and funding programs. And so there are currently not as many open as there were before, but there will be new programs opening. So we ask you to contact us if you feel you have needs for further funding and you need assistance in applying identifying those opportunities and applying for funds. We can provide you with that assistance and then also connect you to other partners we have that can help you. We're also providing business counseling, which involves doing an intake interview, hearing about what your challenges are with financing and other things in your business as a result of this crisis, and helping you to navigate and to create a relief and recovery plan. And so that is something that we can also offer you at no cost. We can also offer technical assistance, which involves helping to explain the process for applying for funding and other benefits and services, and then helping you to walk through that process. We can also connect you with other partners that are available to provide you with those services. Another program we are operating right now is small business reopening support. We are providing businesses with assistance in reopening and restarting. That involves providing you with free access to masks, hand sanitizers, thermometers, and other personal protection equipment and resources to help you operate your business safely and to comply with Washington State's Safe Start requirements. And so we encourage you to contact us via email or by phone. Our email address is african.chamberofcommerce@commerce.washington.gov. And I can be reached by phone at 206-779-0674. You can call me or text me directly if you want to set up an appointment for us to discuss your needs and to begin helping. And so that is the conclusion of my presentation. And so now I would like to open up the floor for any questions or comments.
Thank you, Njuguna. We appreciate your presentation today, and we know many are in need of small business assistance during these times. We also appreciate the fact that the African Chamber is offering those services at no cost. So that's very nice for assistance in counseling and guidance with further financial assistance. So thank you very much for that information, and we'll continue to provide additional financing and additional assistance on financial support to the trucking community, as we have done in the past as well. Don't happen to see any questions just yet in the queue. Wanjiku, have you seen any additional questions in regards to text at this time for Mr. Gashuru?
Yes, I've seen a question. Somebody asked if they could get the info and the contact info put in the chat for Mr. Gashuru, for Njuguna.
Absolutely, we'll put that information in the chat, and I'm sure, Njuguna, you're happy to do virtual meetings with those in need at any time throughout the day or week, and you would be happy to set that up as well. Is that right?
Yes, I am open and available and would love to set up those meetings as soon as possible.
Okay, very good. All right, so I think we have one quick poll question that Wanjiku has put together, and that's for our audience. We do have the opportunity to do poll questions, so I think we're going to launch our poll question. Real simple. Do you need further financial assistance? That's a yes or a no question. All you need to do is just click yes or no, and we'll compile the data. So I'm sure everybody could use some assistance as we move forward during this time. So, okay, thank you very much. Well, I thank everyone again, and we are ready for our next presenter. And I think, Wanjiku, we're good with the poll. You can take that down, and we'll go to the next presenter. So thank you very much. I want to present to you Jason Fialka. He is the Project Intake Supervisor with the City of Seattle. Jason will be speaking today on what we all know is a very serious situation with the West Seattle Bridge. He'll be giving us a presentation explaining what is currently happening, what they anticipate, and challenges and new passage permits for the trucking community as well. So Jason, do we have you out there and ready to go? Cynthia,
Okay.
do you
I'm
you are.
unmuted now.
Well,
Thank you.
this is our first virtual webinar, so you get a pass on the first one, Jason. So thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that. I guess as long as I'm getting a free pass, I'm here with Madison, and we uh, we we made a little bit of a mistake. Normally, Madison shares the slides from her computer, and then I can present from mine. So you might notice there's two Jason Fialkoffs attending today. Could you try to share the other Jason Fialkoff screen, because that's Madison? So my name's Jason Fialkoff, and I'm the project intake lead in the SDOT Transportation Operations Division. And my role on the West Seattle Bridge project is to help coordinate our division's response to the West Seattle High Bridge project. The Transportation Operations Division essentially establishes and maintains the detour route, as well as makes the improvements and tweaks to the transportation network to keep things moving out there. So let's go to the agenda slide. So I think we only have 15 minutes today, so I'm going to move kind of quickly. Here are the things I'm going to cover, what we've done since the High Bridge closure on March 23rd. I'm going to talk about low bridge access because we've revised the policy recently. I'm going to talk about Reconnect West Seattle and our plan for maintaining the transportation network as we do the work on the bridge. I'll discuss freight network connectivity, and then we'll do a little bit of Q&A. Since the bridge closed on March 23rd, we've been busy working to make repairs to prevent further cracking and keep the bridge stabilized. At the same time, we are working to determine a long-term solution for the West Seattle High Bridge, whether that long-term solution is a replacement or a repair. On the bridge, we have declared the West Seattle Bridge as an emergency, which gives us increased attention and access to funds. We've installed monitoring instrumentation to be able to understand how the bridge is working out there. We've started the bridge stabilization project. So if you've been near the West Seattle Bridge recently, you've seen contractor crews up there working on stabilizing it. We've continued to monitor the cracking of the bridge to make sure that it stays up and safe. We are, I'm not sure what the Pier 18 repair construction planning is, but we are working on that. We're currently in the process of searching for the potential replacement design team. I believe that we've been through the first round, and we're working towards identifying who that design team will be. And we've created a technical advisory panel to provide another level of oversight as we move forward. Here's what we've done since the closure, particularly from a transportation and traffic perspective. We have done a lot of work on the ground, and this includes adding 6 real-time cameras on our detour routes. This allows us to be able to live monitor traffic in key corridors and intersections. We've adjusted signal timing at 26 intersections on the detour routes. This is something we do regularly, and this number is probably a little bit low at this point. We continue to use the cameras to observe traffic and make tweaks to signal timing as needed. We're currently displaying travel times on dynamic message signs on West Marginal Way so that people have information on the key detour route and how long it will take. We've installed a temporary traffic signal at Highland Parkway Southwest and Southwest Holden Street. We've repaved the Chelan 5-way intersection west of the Spokane Street low bridge. And in addition to doing that repaving, we also upgraded the signal, made some improvements to how the intersection works so that we can